too much. All right, here, Mr. Horace McRae, and what's today's date? I think it's February 12th. Okay. And we were just talking about the guy before he came to Fayetteville. He came from Georgia. He was on probation, and I just pulled up the record on that. What he was actually charged with.
So when he got out of jail, got out of prison, he went to Georgia to probably stay with his dad, because I know his dad was in Georgia.
Right.
And he was on probation there. So was he on probation from jail or from prison, or he did something else?
He did something else
to get on probation.
Yes, from what I understand. But I'm checking on all that. In fact, I'm gonna ride to Georgia today, and hopefully tomorrow morning get up and talk with him at the courthouse, find out who the other victim is and the charges that were that he was on probation for. I don't think he was on probation for your thing. It could have been. From what I understand, he had charges down in Georgia. And I got that information, so I'm gonna
so you know that's real sad, because and the way you say they caught him again, this is a deja vu.
Yeah.
Why, let me tell you why. How they caught him after the incident with me, he was on probation, and they went to see his probation officer.
How about that?
And which they called him in, they had already had some suspicion. So, and he went down there, and they asked him, and he told them, he was.
Well, while I'm down in Georgia, that's one of the most important things I'm going to ask them is if they've got any pending unsolved murders that he possibly could be connected with. So I'm going to ask him about that, because they may have, and he may not even came on the radar. So I'll ask them about that when I'm going to try to get in touch with, like I said, the victims and get their story and to see if, in fact, what happened to them could have been prevented if Judge Ammons and Billy West, the district attorney here, had done their job. There's a reason I believe they're not doing their job, and we can get into that. Why do you think they're not doing their job?
Well, let me say this here.
You think it's incompetence or lazy or it's politics?
Well, let me say this here. Let me tell you what happened that night.
Okay, so we'll be into your story now, where you were shot.
Yes,
okay.
Let me tell you what happened from start to finish.
Okay.
He called me on that evening, that night, around about 10 o'clock, which I shouldn't have got up out of my bed. My fiance said, "Why are you leaving?" I said, "Because I owe the gentleman, and I want to make sure he's paid."
Right.
So I went to his house. And his house was on a hill. And he came skipping down the hill. And that was unusual, for a grown man to be skipping down the hill.
Kind of like he was on cloud nine.
Yeah, like he was on cloud nine. And that's what I should have paid attention to the first time. But I didn't. So he asked me, I gave him his pay.
Yep, his final check.
I gave him his pay in cash.
Okay.
He had cut some yards for me
right
at my apartment. So then he went back up the hill. He asked me could he get a ride around to the back of Ramsey Street. I can't even remember what it's called, back there to those apartments. And I told him yes. So he went back up the hill and he got a friend. He came back down. He got in the front seat and the other guy got in the back seat. And so we went around to the back of.
Why'd they get back in your car? Were you were gonna give them a ride to somewhere?
They asked me for a ride.
Okay.
To the back of Ramsey Street.
Okay.
Okay. So I took him back there where the park was. The park was on this side and the park on this side. And he asked me, said, "Don't go into the apartment complex. Go back there and make a left right there by the graveyard." He said, "And turn around and back up and then let me out." So when I turned left, he pulled a gun out. He said,
"Was there a guy in the back seat when he did that?"
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, he pulled the gun out and told me to go ahead on around and parked behind the park.
Now, if you don't mind me interrupting, at that time were you fearing for your life? Did everything change just right then? I guess.
I said, "What in the world is you doing?" I say, "Young man, why are you doing this?" He told me to shut my mouth and don't say a effing word. And when I pulled around there and I put the vehicle in park, he hit me in the head with the gun. Twice. Blood was streaming down my face, and he jumped out the truck and ran around there and he pulled me out the truck. Mm-hmm. And see.
So he took the gun, hit you in the head twice,
yeah,
and he ran around and pulled you out the truck.
Yeah, now he hit me in the head with that gun to make me listen to what he was saying.
Right. He wanted you to know he meant business.
Yeah. And I was bleeding. He asked the other guy to hand him the duct tape. So the other guy had on a pullover.
Now, was that other guy charged?
Never been charged. Never been found.
And he was involved. He didn't say, no, I don't want to do this.
No.
He was all in on.
He was all in it.
Until what point? Until the end, or did it some
all
point?
All the way to the end.
To the very end.
To the very end. I don't want to get ahead of the story.
Okay,
because if it wasn't for it came to him because he went back and picked up another. But let me tell you here. So he duct taped my hand with duct tape, the gray duct tape, and he duct taped my legs.
Right.
And we went somewhere, but I couldn't see because he had knocked my glasses off.
Okay.
He knocked my glasses off, and it was raining. And I was disoriented because he had hit me in the head. So, and then when he put me in the back of the truck, with that guy.
Yep.
And he drove me, we went to his house. Now I was laid down in the truck.
Okay. In the back of the truck.
In the back seat.
In the back seat, and there was that guy in the back seat with you.
Yeah, and he had the child locked on.
Now, did anybody else physically or verbally do anything, or they just kept quiet the whole time?
Hold on.
Okay.
He went back to his house. He got another guy.
So now there's total.
There's two of them.
Okay. So it'd be a total of three, plus yourself. Is that correct?
Yeah. It was two plus him plus me made four.
Okay.
So they came back. We went somewhere, some woods. Pulled way back in like one of them like one of those, what's the name they cut to go back to like PWC.
Yeah, clearance, the utility clearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went back in there. They took me out, set me on a chair. The chair was on the back of my vehicle because I used it when I go to my job. I sit and watch the guy work.
Uh-huh.
He set me in that chair, and he taunted me with that gun. And he told me, he said, "I'm gonna kill you after I take you to your house and get in your safe." He said, "I'm gonna set your house on fire."
He's telling you all this.
He's telling me
on doing.
What are you doing? So he told the two guys, he said, "Look, go to Walmart and get a gas jug." He gave him $20, won't never forget. And get a gas jug and stop and fill it up with gas. That's what he told me.
Wow, I'm sure you're fearing you're getting ready to get burned alive.
Yeah. I'm thinking about all what he's saying. He tormented me. But at the same time, I was getting my hands loose.
You were working it.
Oh, I was working. I was getting my hands loose. And I got my hands loose.
Right.
And I had a chance in them woods to get him. Because my hands were loose. And he laid the gun down on the ground. And he couldn't find the gun. And I had my foot on the gun.
Wow.
But I thought, because I've never shot nobody, I never used a gun. I didn't know if he had a gun on safety or what.
You didn't feel confident picking it up.
I didn't feel confident picking it up.
Yeah.
But because my legs was tied. Now, if I had my legs loose, he'd have been dead in the woods. Yeah. Not with the gun.
Well, you would have been in prison and you would have done a lot of years.
No. I wouldn't. I might have, but I would have beat him to death.
Yeah.
See, I was a wrestler in high school and college.
Right.
And I would have beat him to death. There's no way in the world he would.
You didn't need a gun.
I didn't need a gun. Didn't need a gun. He would have been dead. But he tormented me in the woods, rain and everything for 4 hours.
Wow. He was out there 4 hours with you?
He was in the woods for 4 hours. Wow. I could not believe.
And it was raining as well?
Raining and carrying on this rain and storming.
And he was out in the rain like it wasn't even raining?
Like it wasn't even nothing. Yeah. Laughing
like
crazy.
He was on cloud nine.
He was so high. Peed on my feet. He took his penis out and peed on my feet. He laughed. And guess what he kept saying? He kept saying, now who the boss now? Who the boss? And I said, young man, I gave you the opportunity to work. Why are you keep tormenting me about who the boss? I didn't fire you. You fired yourself. You was cussing on the job. You were disrespectful to the foreman. You were disrespectful to the homeowners. Yeah. And when you was on the job, and I said, I don't understand what happened to you. I said, you never done that. I said, so what's going on? And I said, I can tell that you're high. Yes. I said, so you have a relapse? You got back on drugs? It's none of your GG business. Blah, blah, he cussing. It's none of your goddamn business. This blah, blah. It's none of your business.
Now, did he, in that 4 hours, did you notice him getting any kind of continuation of his drug? In other words, did he see
No, he was high. And he got angrier and angrier.
And is it possible that in those 4 hours, if he didn't go to his drugs, that he was just demon possessed? In other words, he was just evil. He was just pure T evil.
No, let me tell you something. That young man is crazy. Not crazy.
Evil crazy.
He's just like Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He is really demon possessed. I'm telling you, them drugs.
Mm-hmm. They'll do it.
They turn him to a new, different person. And not only to a different person, he crazy.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he was on some he probably should have been on some medicine, and that drug and medicine together sent him to a different level.
I'm having to deal with this stuff.
Now let me tell you, when he took me, we went out of the woods. They came back with the truck. We went out of the woods. He went back to his house. He got a moped.
How did he go back to his house? In
the truck.
In your truck?
Yeah.
Okay.
With both of them.
Uh-huh.
And he told them, you put that gun in his mouth. If he try to do anything, you kill him. Make him take you to his house. I'm going to follow y'all in the truck. Now.
And they did that?
Yeah. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. So we was going. I was hoping that the police would stop the truck.
Yeah.
But, that was just a hope.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sitting up in the truck now, and the boy sitting there beside me. He got the gun inside of my face. We went all the way down. Now, I could have easily made a right and went down Morgan Road. But I didn't. I went all the way down the Rifle Road.
Okay.
And I made a right. And then I passed my high school, and we made a right. And I took him in the big neighborhood right across the street from 71st.
Right.
Now, I took him in that neighborhood. I didn't even live in that neighborhood. Mm-hmm. I took him in that neighborhood, told him the park. I couldn't remember where I stayed at.
So you didn't know where you stayed?
Yeah, that's what I told him.
Okay.
I told him I don't remember where I stayed at. I'm disoriented. So we parked in that neighborhood. Now, what I was doing was...
Now, if you don't mind me interrupting, you was driving the truck.
No.
No, you weren't driving. I was going to say, okay. Okay, somebody else was driving.
I was taped.
When you say you took them the long way, you were directing them to your house. Is how come you took them down a certain path, like Redford Road instead of Morganton?
That's right.
Okay. All right, I'm with you now.
So I took them into, I can't tell you the name of the neighborhood. It's right across from 71st.
Okay.
But I took them in that neighborhood, the 2nd Street to the right. Mm-hmm. And the reason I took them there was I say, well, I'm going to get them in this neighborhood, and we're going to stop and let me think, hoping that the police is doing what? They're driving around and see an unfamiliar truck parked with 3 black guys in it. Shit, did no police come through there? And they said, well, we got to go. We done lost him.
He won't behind you no more.
No,
Terrible Trail is what I call him.
Yeah, we lost
Terrible
him.
Trail won't behind you no more. He was in a different vehicle, and y'all lost him.
No, we lost him on the move.
And that was their time. If they wanted to get away, they had an opportunity to go. So they were guilty of everything he was doing, and they weren't charged.
They weren't. They never found, never charged.
So they looked for him.
I don't even know.
They don't know who it was then.
I don't know if they even pressured him
to get those names.
To tell him.
I see. Okay. And you didn't recognize them guys that hadn't seen them since.
I couldn't tell you if they walked in here today.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you if they walked in.
Because your glasses were off at the time.
My glasses were off, and I couldn't see them, and I didn't know who it was. Yeah. But I knew they was young. Right. And I talked to them.
Right.
While we was parked in the neighborhood. I said, look, Jim, you do not have to do this here. You can leave right now. Mm-hmm. You can leave and not be, he's not here. He's not going to harm you. You can get out of this truck. You can leave right now. And I won't say one word about y'all. I said, because you haven't did anything to me.
Right. They weren't going for it.
Mm-mm. We left. We went around. We went out of the neighborhood. We went to the McDonald's. And when we pulled up at McDonald's, he was at the store. Okay. There was a Circle K.
And so y'all ran back into him accidentally or coincidentally?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were looking for him.
That's right. Yeah, but y'all didn't have phone. They didn't have phone communications.
No.
Okay.
So we went back to the McDonald's, and we parked, and there he was at the Circle K.
Circle K. Okay.
Right beside the McDonald's.
Right.
And I had them got my legs loose and my hands loose.
And they were unaware of that at the time.
They didn't know.
Right.
So I was going to jump out the car and go dive through the McDonald's drive-through window.
Right.
I was going to dive through that window. But guess what? He came to my side of the door and he opened the door and got in. Hmm. But that was my chance. But the boy had the gun.
Right.
And I figured if I jumped out that door, he was going to shoot me in the back.
Right.
Shoot me in the head.
Yeah.
So that's what I was scared of. So he got in the truck with me. He said, you take me to that house, or I'm going to kill you right now in this truck.
Right.
So I said, okay, I'll take you to the house. So in my mind, I said, now, he don't know.
Which house? That's right.
No, he don't know. I got my hands loose.
Oh, yeah. And your feet.
And my feet are loose.
Right, right.
And when he go to my house, I got bars on all the way around the house.
Right.
And the bars on the door. And if you close the door, you have to key yourself out.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I called my fiance and told her to open the door. I said, open the door. But I was telling her in code
there's a problem.
There was something going on.
Yeah.
Because he kept saying, you got your key? And I kept saying, I need you to open the door. I need you to open the door. I said that to her twice or 3 times. So she opened the door. And when I opened the door to go in,
right.
I had already made my mind up that he's going to either kill me or I was going to kill him.
Right.
So how I knew I was going to do it was, I know if I walked straight and made a left and went down the hall, he could easily follow me.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to make a left into the den.
Right.
And then make a right to go into the living room. I knew when I made that right to go in that living room, I was going to make a right and turn right back into him, and I was going to kill him right there in that living room.
Right.
He had that gun in my back. So when I made that right, I fireman carried him. I picked him up. I turned right into him, and I picked him up, and I slammed him into the glass table.
Right.
And I was beating him. I was killing him. He was hollering, oh, oh. He bit me in my neck. I was killing him. I was killing him, and I was hollering to my fiance, come in there and shoot him. I was hollering at her, come in there and shoot him, because she had a gun. I said, come in there and shoot him. Come in here and shoot him. Come shoot him. Come shoot him. And she said to me later on,
right,
the Lord told her, don't go in there.
Okay.
Now, I was mad as hell at her.
I bet.
Because
she had a gun.
She had a gun, and that would have prevented me from getting shot.
Yeah.
But I was beating him so bad, the boys that was in the truck
yep.
heard him.
Yep.
They heard him. And at the time I coached baseball, and I had all my bats in my batting thing on the back of the truck.
Right.
They pulled a bat out, came in the house, and beat me with that bat.
Dang. Wow.
Knocked me off of him. Because the gun was, I had them beat him so bad, the gun was laying way over there.
Right.
He couldn't get to the gun.
Yeah.
And I was on top of him, choking him and hitting him. And I was hitting him. I was going to actually kill him.
Yeah.
I didn't really need her to shoot him.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I would beat him to death.
Right.
And he got that gun when they hit me in the back and hit me in the head with that bat. They knocked me off of him. I mean, they beat me with that bat like 15, 16 times.
Wow.
So they were just as gifted as he was.
Yeah,
so they saved his life then.
Yes.
By beating me with that bat.
Right.
And he got that gun and he shot me. And he
shot you right after he picked up the gun?
Yeah, he shot me.
One time at that point?
No, he shot me in the head. He shot me 5 times.
Right there in the house?
Right there in the house. He shot me in the mouth. He shot me in the head.
Dang.
He shot me in the shoulder. He shot me in the hand. He shot me somewhere else. I had bullets everywhere in me.
Wow.
And I was still fighting. And I had him by the leg.
Right.
I was bleeding like a hog in the kitchen and the living room. I had him by the leg. He couldn't get away. I had a death choke on his leg.
Right.
He snatched his leg loose. He went down the house and he got my fiance.
Right.
He told her to come outside. And he had the gun to her head and they walked past me. And I heard him tell her, you gonna crank this car up or I'm gonna kill you. So he made her go outside. And she was so nervous she couldn't crank the car. She couldn't crank the car. And then they couldn't get out.
Right.
Because guess what?
What?
The keys to the truck was up under me. Because he had the keys and I beat him so bad he lost the keys, so he couldn't get the car out. So he told her, he said, bitch, you're not gonna be a witness to nothing. Cause I done killed your husband. That's what he kept saying.
Right.
So he pulled the trigger twice. I heard the gun go click, click,
wow.
click, click.
Yeah.
And he had no bullets.
Wow.
And she was screaming and hollering.
I bet.
And then they left off and ran. But she had already called the police. And the police pulled up seconds after they left.
Wow.
They jumped over the back fence. And I don't know where all they went to. But
they got away.
They got away, but somebody told me, I guess the detectives told me, that they got on the bus that morning.
Other words, all this happened late at night, and then early that morning got on the bus. Yep.
And the bus people called them and told them that 3 guys got on the bus and they had blood on them. And they took blood, they took DNA samples on the bus and everything.
Right.
And but when I was in the emergency and they worked on me, I heard them. They thought I was gonna die. I heard them when they said cold blue. They was working on me. They were working on me.
Right.
I kept hearing them say cold blue, but I kept saying, "Oh Lord, I ain't gonna die." I kept fighting for not to die. So they finally got me stable, and I heard them say, "Well, we can't take no bullets out because he might die if we remove these bullets." And I was like, "Oh." So when I went out. I was out. I don't remember nothing after that. I was out. When I woke up, I was in intensive care.
Right. Now, how many bullets did you still have in you today?
5.
You got 5 still in you today? They never took any of them out?
Still,
wow.
When I go get x-rays and I go get MRI for anything, and I have,
right.
They say you fragmented up. You got bullets everywhere. We can't even they don't even want to put me into the MRI.
Right.
Because that thing is so big and it's so powerful. They say it might pull the bullets through my skin.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
So they don't.
The MRI would pull the bullets right on out if they put you in there.
Yeah, it'll pull it through my skin.
Oh yeah.
And they say it might move it and it might kill me.
Well, God saved you, I think, for a time like this, and I think He's got a purpose for all of us. I wouldn't want to ask you. The situation in the woods went on for about, you say, 4 hours.
4 hours.
Wow.
And then once I got better, the detectives came to see me in the hospital, and I told them who it was. But I told my brother. I told him who it was, and they said, "Well, we're gonna. Do you know where he live?" I said, "Yeah, I know where he live, but I don't know his address." And they ran a what's the name on him?
Record check on him. Yep.
They knew he was on probation.
Yeah.
And they called his probation officer and told his probation officer, see could you get him to come in for a visit.
Right.
And that fool, knowing what he did, thought nobody didn't know.
Yep.
So he went in for a visit.
He was complying with probation, so he don't go back to jail.
So when he went to probation, that's where they got him at.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this.
And when they got him locked up, they came back and told me they got him locked up. And I don't understand why they never got them other two guys.
After that day, all this happened. Detectives came and talked to you at the hospital and all that. Mm-hmm. After all that, what was the next time you hear about this case?
Well, the detectives came to me one more time when I got.
And these are Fayetteville police detectives.
Yeah, and I was trying to go show them where he had me in the woods.
Right.
But I didn't know where it was. But I knew a general idea of where. And I knew they left that chair in the woods.
Right.
And I knew that we were down on what's the name?
Ramsey Street area.
Yeah.
Right.
So we went down.
Probably the Ramsey Street and the Cape Fear River in that area, somewhere between there.
We were close to some water because I could hear the water. So we kept going.
You could hear the water.
Yeah.
There's a waterfall not far down from there. I know where it's at, but there's a waterfall.
Yeah,
it's a Girl Scout camp.
I kept hearing water, and I heard some people back over on the other side of the woods. So I don't know exactly what.
You know where this is? This is River Cliff. You know where River Cliff is? You go down. I think it's Eastwood, and it comes down to, I think, River Cliff. And if you turn.
Well, we wasn't far. We wasn't far because I can remember it didn't take us long to get back to his house.
Right.
From where we was, and I remember the truck running over one of those big old things that the PWC go down in, the old concrete thing. It got stuck on that, but they got it off of it.
Right.
And I remember that. So I was trying to remember where it was, and I couldn't remember where it was.
Right.
So we never found where it was. And to this day, I wonder where. And
it really wouldn't even be needed other than to catch the other two guys, because y'all had enough evidence on the other guy from y'all's eyewitness testimony alone.
That's right. And they had the truck. They impound my truck for to do DNA testing.
Right.
And they should have with DNA testing been able to catch one guy because he drove my truck.
And he should have fingerprints on.
He should have fingerprints and something.
And they should have got those fingerprints, I would think, by now, and charged him with the same crime. But I'm willing to bet they wouldn't. They wouldn't go back that far and charge him. But I don't know.
To this day, those guys are still free.
They're still free.
And they should.
Well, they're still free as far as all that crime. They may be in jail for other crimes because they get caught.
My thing is, they got him now.
Yep.
They should pressure him now.
Yeah.
To find out who those two guys was then.
Right. They were as guilty as he was, and they were still walking the streets.
And if I could have the chance right now to interview him, I would be pressuring him to find out who it was with him back then.
And those two guys,
because they might have been with him this time.
Yeah. Well,
because let me tell you something.
Yeah.
He didn't do this by himself. He did not drive that car, take that body out of the car, and put it in the woods by himself. He didn't do that. He had somebody with him.
Yeah. He don't work alone.
No. He had somebody with him to pick that body up and tow it that far in the woods.
Yeah. So
You know what I'm saying? Have
Oh,
you been
yeah,
to,
yeah.
You ever been to where she was?
No, I have not. No, I had no interest of going there. And where she was, it's no. I didn't think it was going to help me as far as what I needed
Well,
to focus on.
what you should do?
Yeah.
You need to go back to that spot.
Right.
One, to get it out of your head.
Right.
And see how far he carried her.
Mm-hmm.
And that would tell you that somebody else is involved.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I've been thinking about it. I know somebody else is involved.
Yeah, and he's not a big guy either. I think
No.
about 150 pounds.
He didn't carry that body because that's dead weight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He didn't pick that body up and carried it that far in the woods.
Yeah.
Somebody helped him.
Yeah. Now, okay. So now all this happened, and you told me that the detectives did get in touch with you one other time after you got out of the hospital. After that was the end of it.
I never go to trial.
Never went to trial. Never heard from the DA's office.
I never heard from the DA's office.
You never got a letter in the mail.
I never.
You did.
I got a letter in the mail saying they were going to charge him what they were going to charge him with, was I in agreement? I told them. I called the DA's office. And I told them I wanted to come to trial.
Right. You wanted a trial.
I wanted to come to trial, and they never called me back.
Wow. Wow. Now check this out. As it relates to Heather, when she got hit by a car in 2015, a few months later, because it was a hit and run, the guy turned himself in a few hours later, but he turned himself in, confessed to doing it, and assistant DA calls me. I think her name was Amanda, and says, "Mr. Williams, we're going to have to drop this charges against the hit and run charges against this guy." And I said, "Why? Did y'all lose his confession?"
Mm-hmm.
And her response was, "Sorry, Mr. Williams," and that was it. So they dropped the charges against the guy. So hit and run, left her 11:30 at night, Yakin Road, to die. Backed up, looked at the body, drove off. Yeah.
And he was never charged with nothing?
He was charged. He was charged with hit and run. The Fayetteville police did their job. And that's usually the case. In fact, if they ever failed to do the job, in my experience, it's been because they know that they're not going to get the support from the DA's office.
So he was charged with hit and run.
Yep.
And the DA's office dropped the charges?
They called and said they did not have, they said they were dropping the charges for lack of evidence. And my response was, "You mean he lost his confession?" No.
He confessed to the crime.
Yeah, turned himself in.
So how lack of evidence?
I knew what was going on. I didn't want to get in. I didn't want to waste my breath with the lady. I wasn't going to get into it with her. When she told me they had lack of evidence, I knew what was going on. I knew what was going on. Somebody's already been paid to take care of this. That's the way it works. That's the kind of system we got here in Cumberland County. Now you say, well, who did he know? I don't think he knew anybody. I think it was politics.
Well,
Politics, and if you know what I mean by that, then that's where they have this policy that, for whatever reason, you've been treated unfairly by society. So we're going to try to correct that by not throwing a book at you.
Well, in my case, me and Judge Ammons don't like each other.
So you knew the judge.
Yeah, me and Judge Ammons don't like each other.
So you knew him prior to this incident, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So,
me as well. I knew him prior to all my.
Me and Judge Ammons don't like each other, and the reason we don't like each other, and this is public, and we just. I mean, when I went to court for charges of my own, I just told him, first, you can't even try me because it's a conflict of interest. Because back in 1994 or 95, he was running for judge.
Right.
And I worked for Attorney Billy Van Story.
Okay.
And
Billy Van Story was running for judge too?
No.
Okay, you were just working for him.
I was working for him.
Okay.
But Judge David Hasty.
Yep, David Hasty, I know him.
Judge Gene Russ.
Right.
Attorney Gene Russ. Gene Russ was running against Ammons.
Okay.
And Billy Van Story and Gene Russ was good friends.
Okay.
And so I worked on Gene Russ' campaign.
Gene Russ. Yeah.
And Ammons called me into his office and told me that he wanted me to work on his campaign.
Right. Judge Ammons is telling you this. Okay.
Yeah, and I told Judge Ammons, I said, I can't work on your campaign. I said, because I work for Billy Van Story, and he's supporting Gene West.
Right.
And he told me in his office, he said, young man, you got to be a man and get some balls.
Judge Ammons told you that?
Yeah, he said, you got to get some balls, and you got to be your own man and make your own decision and work for whoever you think you want to work for. I said, well, Judge Ammons, Billy Van Story pays me. You think I'm going to go against him and he pay me to work on your campaign? He said, you just remember this. He told me that day.
Wow. So he had a conflict of interest. He should have never signed off on that plea agreement.
He said, he told me to remember this.
Wow.
I will never forget that. He said, you remember
Would
this?
you testify to this in court?
Oh, I'll testify. And I told him, oh, will I?
What?
I told him the last time we was face to face. Do you remember when we was in your office and what you told me? And you told me to remember this. Mm-hmm. So I want you to understand. That's why you cannot try me, and you cannot sentence me. He told me to shut up and get out of his courtroom.
Did he issue a punishment on you?
Oh,
he went ahead and sentenced you and all.
Let me tell you something. He told me.
In other words, did he make a final decision in your case?
Yeah, he did.
So he had a conflict of interest, and he didn't care.
He didn't care. Let me tell you something. He told me the last time I was in the front of him that he was not going to accept my plea agreement.
He would not accept your plea.
Wow. He wanted to double the plea.
Wow. How about that? Well, I will promise you, I will promise you, he'll get wind of this because there's a lot of people listening that's going to be listening to this.
Let me tell you something.
That have connections down there.
He told me he was going to double my plea.
Double your plea.
He was going to double my plea.
Double your punishment.
Because me and we don't like each other.
Right.
And I told him, I want you to understand something. I told Judge Ammons, your day of judgment is coming.
Yeah.
This is what I said to him that day in the courtroom.
Yeah.
I said, your day of judgment is coming.
Yeah.
And the judge is not going to have on a black robe or a white robe.
Yeah.
He's not going to care whether you black or white.
That's right.
He's going to care about the contents of your character.
Yeah.
And I said, Judge Ammons, you're going to be punished.
Yeah. You're
right. All the people you done sentenced.
Yeah.
And you sentenced them wrong.
Yeah.
I said, I just want you to remember this. Yeah. And I told him that day in the courtroom. And he and when he threw me out the courtroom that day, and me and the deputy sheriff got back there in the back hall, he said, "Oh, you told him off." He said, "Boy, he hot." I said, "He was hot with me." He said, "Yeah." He said, "But you told him." And I had Daniel Britt representing me that day.
Daniel Britt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Carl Britt's son.
Carl Britt's son, yeah.
And when we got back there in the back, he said, "Boy, woo, you made him hot." He said, "You made him hot." I said, "Well, I'm just telling you the truth."
Yeah. Now, what year is this?
This was like 3 years ago.
3 years ago. So probably roughly 21.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
And but this is after.
This was in 20. That's when it was.
No, this is after you've been shot. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This was in 20.
Wow.
Right,
so you didn't know he had any connection with that. You had no idea what was going on with the criminal in that case, other than he was in jail. And
no, I knew Judge Ammons had tried that young man.
Okay, you knew it.
Okay,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I knew he had tried that young man.
In your case.
Yeah.
And you didn't have no input. You weren't there.
Never
got a notice or anything. But you knew he was the deciding judge. How'd you find that out?
Because I knew the Superior Court case.
You knew
about the case.
You knew, yeah.
Yeah.
You knew who was going to get the case because of the seriousness of the crime.
And I knew why that boy didn't get no more time than he got.
Because your name was on the on the complaint.
That's exactly right.
How about that? Wow.
And I knew. I said, this boy, listen. He was charged with 2 kidnappings, 2 armed robberies, 2 attempted murder. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now,
habitual felon.
Habitual felon.
Oh yeah, there's more than 7 charges that the federal police they nailed him.
And he got 8 years.
Or he got less. I think he got 6 and 7 months, or maybe even 7 years and 6 months. Or
how in the hell do you get that with not Peggy? who was my fiance, never been charged with nothing a day in her life.
Never got to see a day in court.
Never got to see a day in court.
And never got her opinion on what she thought about the guy getting a lenient sentence.
So if Judge Ammons didn't like me, he should have sentenced that man because of what he did to her.
Right, yeah.
But it's like she wasn't even involved.
You know, from the police making the arrest and making the charges, they started shaving off these charges. When I mean started shaving them off, if you go down there and look at it today, you can only see like he had like maybe 4 pending charges. And then they just let them go. Like it never happened. It's amazing that they treat it like nothing happened.
But when you look at his charges, wasn't he charged with double kidnapping?
No. What's on the record now, looking at it, it's just first degree kidnapping. Just one count.
Oh, see.
It should be 2 counts on every charge.
It should be 2 counts on everything.
Except the habitual felon. I mean, you can't be.
It should be 2 counts of everything. It should be two armed robberies, because they robbed her and me. Should have been 2 kidnapping and 2 attempted murder.
Yeah, it's amazing what's going on down there. I will tell you this, that I hope they take him out in handcuffs. At very minimum, Judge Ammons and District Attorney Billy West need to be charged with manslaughter. In my case, I think they're culpable. Do you think they have any responsibility for Heather's death?
I think that if they had charged this young man like he should have been charged.
He was charged, but if they had followed through.
If they had sentenced him.
Yes, sentenced him.
Like he should have been sentenced.
Yep.
First, he should have been sentenced to life.
Yeah, and he should have had a jury trial because we've got live victims that are willing to tell a jury exactly what this man did.
Let me tell you something. Well, when you take a plea, they're not going to have a jury trial.
Oh, I know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they should have called me and Peggy in, and they should have sentenced him according to both of us.
That's right.
And he should have been sentenced to life in prison.
Yep.
And he should have been. He should have never got out in no 8 years. He shouldn't have got out in no 6 years, no 7 years, no 5 years. So if he hadn't got out,
right,
when he got out,
right, yeah,
Heather would be still living. So they're responsible for Heather's death.
Yeah. So if Billy West and Judge Ammons had done their job,
she'd be still living.
She'd still be alive.
She'd be still living right now.
I agree with you. You had told a reporter that. He interviewed you there at the hearing for first appearance.
I told him.
Have you seen that on TV yet?
I seen it on TV.
Did you? They aired your response?
Yeah, you did. Yes, sir.
Did you? You didn't name no names of who was responsible though. You didn't call out the judge or the district attorney.
No. The only thing I told was the truth.
Right.
And I said.
But the truth. But you left their names out, and you didn't get into that.
That's not my responsibility.
Right.
They know.
They know. Yeah. But the public don't know. The public don't know who to hold responsible. They just think it's the court system, but they can't put faces to it.
Let me tell you something. It's just like this right here. Just like this in coaching, it's just like this here. When you have a team, you have a head coach.
That's right.
The head coach of the district attorney's office is Billy West.
That's right.
The head coach of the judge of the Superior Court system in Cumberland County is Judge Ammons.
That's right.
So Billy West should be held responsible, and Judge Ammons should be held responsible.
Yeah.
Because this man should have been sentenced to more than 20 years or life, and he shouldn't have got out this early, and your daughter will be living.
The best hope you can have for any justice in your case, and I might be wrong about it, but here's what I'm thinking is the best case, and that is you ain't gonna get no justice for this guy. I mean, terrible Terrell, but the other 2 men, if they were ever identified and you can testify, you can send those people away for hopefully many, many, many years.
Yeah. But they ain't looking for them.
No, they're not. No, and I believe they've got their fingerprints on file. They should be able to locate these people, I would think.
Right now, you got 2 people who should be charged with double kidnapping.
Yeah.
Double
that are on the streets.
And double attempted murder.
Yeah. And conspiracy. They planned.
And they beat me with a bat.
Right.
And they ain't try to find him. They don't know nothing. And you got this man in custody.
Wow.
And you ain't pressured this man to tell nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, but they ought to put me in a room with him. And I will find out who it was.
Well, check this out. 2 years
ago, I will find out who it was.
I was telling you important dates. You know, this guy, Terrible Trail, got arrested on my birthday, June 21st. Mm-hmm. Well, June 21st to 23, I was bailing a guy out of jail. I did not know who he was. I didn't know what crimes he was guilty of in the past. I had no idea who he was. I was bailing him out. He was charged.
You bailing who out?
I was bailing a stranger out of jail on my birthday in 2023 because of these crooks downtown, because these corrupt people, the corrupt district attorney and a corrupt judge, Ammons, Billy West, because I went to all the people involved and said, y'all got an innocent man locked up. He's in there 15 months in jail. And because y'all using Heather, my daughter, as the reason why. I know what Heather's capable of. I know what probably happened. I know what the detectives we talked about. I know what happened there. This guy's been locked up 15 months. Mom, Dad not notified. Heather not notified. And now when we're notified, I'm mad as hell. Y'all got him in there 15 months.
Who they had locked up for 15 months?
I don't want to say his name, but because he's an innocent. When I say he's an innocent guy, I'm the dad. I would know if the guy's guilty. I talked with Heather. Heather's able to communicate. If the guy was guilty, Heather point the finger and say, guilty. Okay? She's able to communicate, but it's bits and pieces, and she will let you know exactly on her mind. But anyway, the point being is, she had this tendency to try to get, at this time, she wasn't hooked on any drugs. She was doing gambling and getting money for scratch-offs. And she had very limited speech. So to get money, she would know that these guys wanting sex, so they'd give her some money, thinking they might get sex. She'd get the money and walk off. So she first thing they open the door, you want to ride or something, help, or what's going on? Money, ride, sex. So she tried to get $20 to go do a scratch-off. She didn't want to have sex with them, but she knew that was because of her good looks, that would attracted them, and generally it was easy to peel off some dollars off of them. So point being is, I knew what she was doing. Everything she was doing, she tried on Mom and Dad. So I knew that she was capable of going to the extreme to get this money, including jumping on your vehicle if you try to get away. And in this case, this is what happened. And I didn't even know the details and all. But once the lady told me what happened, 12 o'clock at the store, and blah, 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 involved Heather, I knew what happened. The detective didn't care what happened. She had a target on this guy. She knew the guy like the judge knew you. And she targeted him. And when I mean she targeted him, she did everything she could to get a charge on him. So she goes, this is my best guess from what I know happened, that this Sergeant Mincy went to the attorney, Ronnie Mitchell, and asked him for some help and advice. And he said, if you let a handicapped person, this is again my advice from me meeting with Ronnie and him telling me this, Ronnie Mitchell, I call him Pistol Mitchell.
I know Ronnie.
You know Ronnie. So I ask him, I go to him, I see got an innocent guy locked up in jail because of my daughter. I wouldn't know nothing about it. 15 months, let him out. Mm-hmm. Y'all crazy. He says, she's brain damaged, handicapped. He let her in the car. As soon as she got in the car, he's guilty of kidnapping. She's not capable of doing that. But yet 6 months later, this 68-year-old man carries across state lines to South Carolina, forges his name on a marriage license, his signature on the marriage license for Heather. Okay, then he comes back and he gets her. Before he even goes there, he gets her hooked on crack. Mm-hmm. Heather's recording this stuff on video. That's how we know this stuff. So, needless to say, the county sheriff's been notified about this guy, about the videos, the evidence, and all on him. They refused to do anything. This is because it's 6 months after what happened to this innocent man being in jail 15 months. 6 months later, after I raised hell about that, I go tell him, I said, now we got this guy who took her to South Carolina and got her hooked on drugs. I said, they don't even respond to my email or text. So I take it to social services. Me and the wife, we go to social services. Long and short of it, the only thing that come out of that is, well, we got bosses. That's why you can't go and tell the police to go and check this guy out, to go investigate, go and pick him up. He's out. This guy was out on bond, he still is, for shooting up a trailer Heather was in. He shot the trailer up. And he only did like 5 days in there. He's been out ever since. And Heather was, the police and the rescue have been called to Heather's, in his house, where supposedly Heather would go and for the drugs and sex swap over 100 times. So and it didn't stop until the social services lady come to my house a few months ago, and I was telling her, this is my concern. Can't you go talk to the guy and at least make him think there's an investigation of him? After that, there was never another case where he was, as far as I knew, there's no more involvement.
Well, let me ask you, how do you think Heather got up with these guys that killed him?
It was on some type of social media. Heather could work her social media. And again, what she was out to do, it wasn't murder. Okay, it wasn't murder.
So y'all went back and checked her phone or whatever it was?
Her phone record, yes. I had video evidence showing a particular car We were able to get access to Heather's phone records and see who she had called and texted. And my daughter, who's an assistant DA, she called the number on there to check and see if he knew where she's at, because she's missing. You've seen her, where's she at? Your car, you can drive this kind of car, blah, blah, blah. And he ended up telling her some lies, and then finally told her the truth. And then
he did.
And when I say told her the truth, he didn't say he had a car like that. He initially lied about it, say he didn't.
So she talked to the guy that's locked up?
Yes. Talked to him prior to him being ID'd as a murder suspect. Based on us locating his phone records, because we had access to the phone records.
How did y'all find the phone?
We didn't find the phone. We accessed it through Verizon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The phone they were trying to locate was unable to find it. So I think Heather loves to record stuff, especially illegal activity, and she loves to tell on people, this is illegally what they're doing. Even though she may be doing some of this stuff herself, it's just the way her mind's, she had brain injury, she had brain damage, and it caused certain things to occur.
So how do y'all find out what color car, that gray car?
Well, based on the phone, based on the video, we identified a particular car, but not that car. With his phone record and him being associated with that car, tied the two together. Then
So when y'all got his phone records, y'all could go in there and find.
You can see who the phone been texted to or called to. The numbers that ping and off their towers, that it records those numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how did y'all? Cause they showed on TV a picture of the car.
Well, that was from my house. Well, I've got video cameras. They said it was a door ring, but it wasn't. I got video cameras.
So y'all seen the car when he picked her up?
Yeah, it was like 10:30 at night. We didn't at that time. We didn't see it, but Heather don't show back up. We start looking on the camera. Where'd she go? When she go? And who'd she go with? Yeah.
So y'all picked that car?
Yeah. That was it. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how y'all found out what car it was?
Well, the phone numbers helped, knowing what car and what time she was picked up. So, once we identified that, any phone calls from her phone after she was picked up should be linked to him or somewhere she was dropped off afterwards. He tried to say he dropped her off afterwards, but the detectives, they did their work. The Fayetteville Police Department had done a great job all the way around, as far as I can tell. I ain't got no issues with
How they find out he killed her?
Well, they did not want to tell the family all the evidence because it's a pending case, but they do have cameras on all the streets. Not all the streets, but a lot of the major streets. So if she's picked up here and he's traveling in certain directions, he's going to pass a certain camera. So they were able to identify, I believe, from tag identification and time and place of where he's at. Yeah.
Oh.
And when they picked him up, I believe he was working at McDonald's. But after he was questioned, he quickly started packing his stuff and was making plans to head out of town. So I think that kind of leads to guilt in itself. Especially if you're avoiding.
So he packed his stuff to leave?
Yes, he was in the middle of packing his stuff and getting out of town. Yeah.
Or when they found him, when they got him?
When they got it, yes, right. And I believe they got him the same way they got him before. You're talking about probation being involved. I believe they had got him through his probation officer. He was having to check in with his probation officer, and when he checked in, that's when they nabbed him.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I've taken enough of your time. I think we've covered. Is there anything else in your story there that the jurors didn't get a chance to hear? They may, if we ever get these two other guys that are guilty of the same crimes, if they ever catch them, then you'll hopefully get a jury trial and send these people away possibly for life.
I wish they would catch them, because, the truth of the matter is, they could come back and harm me.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
And my wife.
Yeah, that guy. Did you know he was out of jail?
No.
Terrible Terrell, you did not know he was out of jail.
I didn't know he was out of prison.
And good thing he didn't know where you were. He didn't even know you was alive, probably.
No.
He's thinking you're dead.
And the thing about it is, I wouldn't even know who he was, because he had dreads back then.
Wow.
So when I seen the picture of him when he came in the courtroom this time, he looked totally different. He
may still not know you are alive.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
He still might not know.
You might want to send him a birthday card.
He think I'm dead.
Send him a card in Tacoma County Jail.
No, I'm not going to. I would like to just see him face to face.
Yeah, it'd be like seeing a ghost. Him shot you 5 times, and here you are.
I would like to see him face to face.
Yeah, and then knowing that he ain't been charged and had to face the jury over that crime went away. He thought he got away with it.
But let me tell you this right here. I'm going to go to this trial this time. I'm going to go to this trial. if he go to trial, I'm going.
Heather's trial.
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah.
And
he'll see you there.
he'll see me.
That's right. Yeah.
And I hope that the attorney, the DA who's on that during this trial, I hope he called me to testify.
Yeah. Yep. 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 I hope they call you to testify too, and that you can tell your story to a jury as it relates to this. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off now. It's about 55 minutes there. Mr. McRae, thank you so much, and just want to appreciate you being a favorite resident. You've been a favorite resident all your life.
Yeah. Yeah,
and it's individuals like me and you. You're in the roofing business as well.
Yes.
Yeah, we it's like every other trade. It's I think God's put us all here for a reason.
Oh yeah.
And
I love what I do. I love